I think, Dr. Sims, that this is really the winter of discontent for the world economy. And I must admit that I'm almost unmitigatingly gloomy about the world economy. If you look at the United States, I really think that the Fed is almost pushing at a noodle. And the real problem, of course, is the fiscal part. And there, politics dominates. And even if a compromise is reached, I think it'll be full of compromises. And I really don't think that the economy, the U.S. economy, will recover anytime soon. So I really want to ask Dr. Sims that, do you see the light at the end of a tunnel? Not just in the United States. In Europe, it's much the same. It's politics. It's politics.
But I agree with what you've said, that the politics are extremely difficult. I don't see any obvious, simple solution. I couldn't tell a politician in Europe, or a politician in the United States for that matter, a simple course of action that would get rid of the problems. On the other hand, these problems are financial. Actually, one of the problems in Europe right now is there already have been transfers. There are banks that are holding debt. It's not so much that new transfers have to be made. It's that some deal has to be made about who is actually going to take losses that have already occurred, taking the losses. And until the loss taking is resolved, it inhibits investment and inhibits growth. So I think there's plenty of reasons to be pessimistic, as you are. Source of innovation and advance was coming from more people working on the same problems, splitting up those problems into pieces, analyzing them, finding better ways to manufacture things and to carry out economic tasks. You look around the world, we have a large reserve of population in China and India and other emerging markets where there's lots of room, now that the people are being drawn into the market system in those countries, for Adam Smith's dynamics to take hold. And this is not just good for China and India, it's good for the US as well, that if the productivity of the world increases and trade barriers to trade aren't imposed, the whole world will benefit as rapid progress takes place in these other countries.
I don't know what you think of this productivity, the slowing down of productivity improvement. You, Dr. Sims, apparently you think that that's going to go on now.
I think it's not so clear that that productivity will necessarily be slower growing in the future. But I certainly can't prove you wrong. There's a possibility that your picture is too pessimistic.
It seems to me the traditional prescription when there's a recession, it seems to me to be the traditional prescription to reduce taxes. But apparently, well, not apparently, but the Taiwan government is just doing the opposite. It's increasing taxes in the teeth of a very grim economy. Do you think that could be right?
It does seem to be a pattern around the world. If you look at what the British government is doing and what the Germans are trying to get all the European governments to do, is they're talking about increased austerity, increased taxation, reduction in expenditures in the face of a big recession. It seems, I think most economists would agree that if it was politically possible, the right thing to do is to have fiscal stimulus now in countries facing recession. It's an instinct. People feel that when things are bad, it's important to cut back and save. And that's a good instinct for an individual who has lost his job or finds his pay cut. It's not a good instinct for a country as a whole.
I don't know whether you touched on the subject when you met with President Ma yesterday. From what I read in the papers, you did not. I wish that you had, because as Keynes taught us the lesson in the 30s that you must not increase, you must not practice. The government is not like individuals. The individuals have to practice austerity, but the government mustn't during a recession. Now, of course, there is. I mean, obviously, I brought up the issue with the authorities long before today. The answer I got was that Mr. Chang, we also have to worry about import goods inflation. Now, how would one balance that against the exporters' disadvantage?
It's a difficult problem. Most economists, I think, would say that that it's monetary policy that will determine the relative exchange rates, and that the right way to make the decision is to try to stabilize the price level and keep inflation on at a target level, and that the result will be that the exchange rate may turn out to be different in the two countries. Of course, it may be that stabilizing inflation in the two countries causes more difficulties for exporters in one country than the other, but I think the monetary authority should not be making policy on the basis of industry by industry concern about the impacts of the policy.
It's not in the... I'm sorry?
I have a fan over there, I guess.
No, I'm not talking about industry by industry. I think that export industry, I'm speaking of the Taiwan export industry collectively, I think we'll manage to survive it. But there are companies that can't survive it, yeah, sure, of course. Of course, we suffer as the rest of the Taiwan industry. But, just giving another example, this thing costs us, well, the additional tax and this thing costs us, I think the impact on our earnings per share is in dollars, dollars per share. Okay, we make a little more than $6 per share this year. Now, we could make $2 or $3 more. Now, the $2 or $3 more would be translated into billions, tens of billions of additional shareholders' wealth if we have been able to make it. So, all right, so we need to think about that sort of things too. And there are companies that are laying off people, because of this.
I don't know how to have a last word after this kind of controversy that seems to be a domestic dispute. But maybe the right thing to do is to take a very broad global economist perspective and observe that that costs change, demand shifts, and industries rise and fall, and we hope that markets guide us on average in the right direction as these things happen. It's the fact that TSMC has met these challenges is encouraging, and maybe in the future luck will be better on the score of the evolution of the exchange rate. So I'll leave it at that.